If the name Betsy Johnson sounds familiar, it may be because she ran for governor in 2022. The former state senator left the Democratic Party to run as an independent. The race ultimately won by current Governor Tina Kotek with about 47% of the vote, 44% for Republican Christine Drazan, and about 9% for Betsy Johnson. Johnson did pull just under 9% of the vote, but there's no question her presence made a difference in the race, as her votes could have swung the election. A native Oregonian, entrepreneur, and aviator, among other things, Johnson has been actively engaged in the politics of Columbia County and the state of Oregon for decades. Betsy Johnson, welcome back to Eye on Northwest Politics.
Thank you. It's a pleasure to be here with you.
Well, Governor Kotek just appointed you to the OHSU Board of Directors, and this coming at a time when Phil and Penny Knight have given $2 billion to the Knight Cancer Institute. Did you seek this appointment, and how do you think your role will be on the board?
Easy questions. I did not seek the appointment. I was really quite pleased when the governor's office reached out and asked if I would like to be on the search committee for the new president of the university. And I jumped at the chance to do that, served on a very large committee. We winnowed down through a number of candidates and ended up fortuitously hiring Dr. Sharif El-Nahal, and he is going to be wonderful. He's young and energetic, which makes the new opportunity to serve on the board even more tantalizing for me. Dr. El-Nahal is already, he's only been on the job a short period of time, but is already accessible, available to the employees. People are giving him very good reviews. In contrast to his predecessor, Dr. El-Nahal is everywhere all the time. And I think he is going to realize the next vision for OHSU, buoyed by the astonishingly generous gift from Phil and Penny Knight. And I think Dr. El-Nahal's quick grasp of the issues, that he is going to make a huge difference, and with a new engaged board, propel OHSU to the next level, get its mojo back. We got a little bit lost along the way. And I am very enthusiastic for having OHSU assume its proper position in Oregon's economic future. Dr. El-Nahal is the guy to do it.
What do you think is the biggest challenge for OHSU, especially considering the context of loss of federal research dollars from the federal government?
Well, I think it's to overcome some of its own problems. During COVID, it drew in rather tightly. Dr. Jacobs was not out and about in the community. So our biggest challenge right now is financial, but it also is one of getting a culture of camaraderie and single purpose and working together, the joy of coming to work, because we are educating, we are healing, we are outreaching. I was privileged to represent Senate District 16, and we have a Knight Cancer Center now at Columbia Memorial Hospital. So my point is, OHSU has a rural role, it has a healing and teaching role, it has a research role, and it has a jaw-droppingly generous gift. I recall the last large gift when we were going to do the war on cancer down at the legislature, and I went in to see now deceased Peter Courtney. And I said to him, Mr. President, of all the things that you would have, all the accolades written on your headstone, wouldn't you want it to say we cured cancer on his watch? And I still feel exactly the same way with Dr. Drucker's team and the confidence that the Knights have shown in OHSU. I think the Knight Cancer Center has the real chance of changing the cancer landscape, and I'm thrilled to be part of that.
Well, as you mentioned, you live in Columbia County, but you spend a decent amount of time here in the city of Portland. What's your reaction to what's happening from the administration now with the president trying to deploy National Guard troops to the city?
I think it's overblown, hyperbolic, and unnecessary. Portland has a long tradition of protests. My expectation is that people protest and make their views known in a nonviolent way, not assaulting officers, not destroying property. But we have a long tradition of making views known in the public square. I have boundless confidence in Chief Day. And it was just night before last that I was with him at dinner and a group of people that he was speaking to. I could not be more impressed with how competent and transparent and committed he is to see Portland through this patch. I don't think there's any necessity to deploy troops, and it has the very real possibility of exacerbating and aggravating an already somewhat tense situation. But it is nothing compared to some of the derogatory national news.
Being a former state senator, what did you think about the delays and starts and stops in the special session on transportation?
I have to be honest, it was pretty maladroit. Peter Courtney taught me lots of things as a legislature, and one of them was how to manage a short session. There's an art and a science to a short session. And I thought that it was not handled very well, and I lay that at the feet of legislative leadership. Part of the problem was that they didn't have their vote count completely done. They took an issue that was not a partisan issue and managed to make it partisan. I think that the tour that the legislature went on was less a dialogue with Oregonians than it was listening to desperate Oregonians come in and plead for improvements in their segment of whatever highway or bridge or tunnel they needed improvements. The package was too big, in my opinion, and I thought using snowplow drivers as political pawns was unseemly. But it got passed. Now, it also required that 2 desperately ill legislators be brought into the building, and I say with sorrow that one of those legislators, Representative Walwin,
yeah,
unfortunately succumbed to a very aggressive cancer yesterday. But she had been brought into the building. I recall vividly in 2013, I was in a bad automobile accident and was in the hospital and rehab. We were 16, 14, and as I was joking with you before we went on the air, they couldn't pass the Pledge of Allegiance without me. So I knew the pressure to have Senator Gorsuch and Representative Walwin come in. But I thought that putting politics ahead of people to that visible degree, we didn't show very well, or the legislature didn't show very well. The bill got, a much changed version of the bill got passed. The truckers got things that they had needed for 3 decades. ODOT needs to be held more accountable. The ODOT has done a bad job of estimating. They've done a bad job of delivering. And I think that's one of the reasons that this session seemed so edgy, was that constituents were telling their own senators and representatives, we want better from ODOT. The projects are just not getting out the door. I voted in 2017 for that bill. The particular bill number was 2017. That did improvements on 3 big projects in Portland: the Abernathy Bridge, the Rose Quarter, and 217. Mm-hmm. It was very difficult to go back to my coastal constituents and say, I voted for 3 projects that will have no direct benefit for you, but it should matter as much to a cheesemaker in Tillamook, how Tillamook cheese passes through the city, as an onion grower in Ontario to get into the supply chain and shipped out. And so it made sense to me to make sure that Portland worked well. Those projects haven't been delivered.
What did you think about the taxes and fees, the increases associated with this bill?
I thought they were too high. One of the raps on Portland right now is, and I know I'm conflating state and city, but one of the raps on Portland, and I think it's a justified rap, is that taxes and fees in this state are too high, and we are not seen as a business-friendly state. We don't have agencies that act like the customer matters. We certainly don't have city bureaus that act like the customer matters. And you exacerbate that by larding on more fees and taxes to the transportation package. And I thought it was too big.
We are out of time, but hey, are you going to run for anything again in the future?
No, I'm going to do a damn good job at OHSU. I'm very proud to have that appointment nomination from the governor, and I was confirmed by the Senate. One of the things that gives me a great deal of pleasure about it is that people have said how nice it is that 2 people that opposed each other in the gubernatorial campaign are now working together. And so I am going to make her proud of my performance up there, and we're going to get OHSU on the track, and I'm very much looking forward to doing a all-in job on that.
Betsy Johnson, thanks for being here on Eye on Northwest Politics.
Thank you.
We'll be right back.